Translation by W.H.D. Rouse. Jataka number 162. Santhava Jataka. Nothing is worse, etc. This story the master told while living at Jetavana Monastery. About feeding the sacred fire. The circumstances are the same as those of the Nangutha birth. The brethren, on seeing those who kept up this fire, said to the Lord Buddha, "Sir, here are top-knot ascetics practicing all sorts of false asceticism. What's the good of it?" "There is no good in it," said the master. "It has happened before that even wise men have imagined some good in feeding the sacred fire. But after doing this for a long time, have found out that there is no good in it, and have quenched it with water, and beat it down with sticks, never giving it so much as a look afterwards." Then he told them a story. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king of Benares, the Bodhisattva was born in a Brahmin family. When he was about 16 years old, his father and mother took his birth fire and spoke to him thus: "Son, will you take your birth fire into the woods, and worship the fire there? Or will you learn the 3 Vedas, settle down as a married man, and live in the world?" Said he, "No worldly life for me. I will worship my fire in the woodland, and go on the way to heaven." So taking his birth fire, he said farewell to his parents, and entered the forest, where he lived in a hut made of branches and leaves and did worship to the fire. One day he had been invited to some place where he received a present of rice and ghee. "This rice," thought he, "I will offer to great Brahma." So he took home the rice, and made the fire blaze. Then with the words, "With this rice I feed the sacred flame," he throw it upon the fire. Scarce had this rice dropped upon it, all full of fat as it was, when a fierce flame leapt up which set his hermitage on fire. Then the Brahmin hurried away in terror, and sat down some distance off. "There should be no dealings with the wicked," said he. "And so this fire has burnt the hut which I made with so much trouble." And he repeated the first stanza. "Nothing is worse than evil company. I fed my fire with plenty rice and ghee. And lo! the hut which gave me such bother to build it up, my fire has burnt for me. I've done with you now, false friend," he added. And he poured water upon the fire, and beat it out with sticks, and then buried himself in the mountains. There he came upon a black deer licking the faces of a lion, a tiger, and a panther. This put it into his mind how there was nothing better than good friends. And after that he repeated the second stanza. "Nothing is better than good company. Kind offices of friendship here I see. See the lion, tiger, and the leopard. The black deer licks the faces of all 3. With these thoughts the Bodhisattva plunged into the depths of the mountains. And there he embraced the true life of morality, cultivating the faculties and the attainments, until at his life's end he passed into Brahma's upper heaven. After delivering this discourse, the master identified the birth. "In those days I was the ascetic of the story." Source: adapted from Archaic Translation by W.H.D. Rouse. Jataka number 163. Susima Jataka. 50 black elephants, etc. This story the master told at Jetavana Monastery, about arbitrary giving of alms. We hear that at Shravasti city, a family used sometimes to give alms to the Buddha and his friends. Sometimes they used to give to the heretics. Or else the givers would form themselves into companies, or again the people of one street would club together, or the whole of the inhabitants would collect voluntary offerings, and present them. On this occasion all the inhabitants had made such a collection of all necessities. But advices were divided, some demanding that this be given to the heretics, some speaking for those who followed the Buddha. Each party stuck to their point, the disciples of the heretics voting for the heretics, and the disciples of Buddha for Buddha's company. Then it was proposed to divide upon the question, and accordingly they divided. Those who were for the Buddha were in the majority. So their plan was followed, and the disciples of the wrong believers could not prevent the gifts being offered to the Buddha and his followers. The citizens gave invitation to the Buddha's company. For 7 days they set rich offerings before them, and on the 7th gave over all the articles they had collected. The master returned thanks, after which he instructed lots of people in the fruition of the paths. Next he returned to Jetavana monastery. And when his followers had done their duties, he delivered a Buddha's discourse standing before his scented chamber, into which he then retired. At evening time the brethren talked the matter over together in the Hall of Truth. Friend, how the wrong believers' disciples tried to prevent this from coming to the saints. Yet they couldn't do it. All the collection of articles was laid before the saints' own feet. Ah, how great is the Buddha's power! What is this you are talking about now together? Asked the master, coming in. They told him. Brethren, said he, this is not the first time that the disciples of the wrong believers have tried to stop an offering which should have been made to me. They did the same before. But always these articles have been finally laid at my feet. So saying, he told them a tale of long ago. Once upon a time there lived in Benares a king Susima. And the Bodhisattva was the son of his priest's lady. When he was 16 years old, his father died. The father while he lived was master of the ceremonies in the king's elephant festivals. He alone had right to all the ornamental dresses and appointments of the elephants which came into the place of festival. By this means he gained as much as 10 millions at each festival. At the time of our story the season for an elephant festival came round. And the Brahmins all flocked to the king, with these words. O great king! The season for an elephant festival has come, and a festival should be made. But this your priest's son is very young. He knows neither the 3 Vedas nor the tradition of elephants. Shall we conduct the ceremony? To this the king consented. Off went the Brahmins delighted. Aha, said they, we have barred this boy from performing the festival. We shall do it ourselves, and keep the gains. But the Bodhisattva's mother heard that in 4 days there was to be an elephant festival. For 7 generations, thought she, we have managed the elephant festivals from father to son. The old custom will pass from us, and our wealth will all melt away. She wept and wailed. Why are you weeping? Asked her son. She told him. Said he, well, mother, shall I conduct the festival? What, you, sonny? You don't know the 3 Vedas or the elephant tradition. How can you do it? When are they going to have the festival, mother? 4 days from now, my son. Where can I find teachers who know the 3 Vedas by heart, and all the elephant tradition? Just such a famous teacher, my son, lives in Taxila, in the realm of Gandhara. Near Afghanistan and Pakistan including Kandahar. 2,000 leagues away. Mother, says he, our hereditary right we shall not lose. One day will take me to Taxila. One night will be enough to teach me the 3 Vedas and the elephant tradition. On the next day I will journey home. And on the 4th day I will manage the elephant festival. Weep no more. With these words he comforted his mother. Early next morning he broke his fast, and set out all alone for Taxila, which he reached in a single day. Then seeking out the teacher, he greeted him and sat on one side. Where have you come from? The teacher asked. From Benares, teacher. To what end? To learn from you the 3 Vedas and the elephant tradition. Certainly, my son, you shall learn it. But, sir, said our Bodhisattva, my case is urgent. Then he described the whole matter, adding, in a single day I have done a journey of 2,000 leagues. Give me your time for this one night only. 3 days from now there is to be an elephant festival. I will learn the whole after one lesson. The teacher consented. Then the boy washed his master's feet, and laid before him a fee of 1,000 pieces of money. He sat down on one side, and learnt his lesson by heart. As day broke, even as the day broke, he finished the 3 Vedas and the elephant tradition. "Is there any more, sir?" asked he. "No, my son, you have it all. Sir," he went on, "in this book such a verse comes in too late, such another has gone astray in the reading. This is the way to teach your pupils for the future," and then he corrected his teacher's knowledge for him. After an early meal he took his leave, and in a single day he was back again in Benares, and greeting his mother. "Have you learnt your lesson, my boy?" said she. He answered, "Yes." And she was delighted to hear it. Next day, the festival of the elephants was prepared. 100 elephants were set in dress, with golden ornamental dresses, golden flags, all covered with a network of fine gold. And all the palace courtyard was decorated. There stood the Brahmins, in all their fine gala dress, thinking to themselves, "Now we shall do the ceremony, we shall do it." Presently came the king, in all his splendor, and with him the ornaments and other things that were used. The Bodhisattva, apparelled like a prince, at the head of his suite, approached the king with these words. "Is it really true, O great king, that you are going to rob me of my right? Are you going to give other Brahmins the managing of this ceremony? Have you said that you mean to give them the various ornaments and vessels that are used?" And he repeated the first stanza as follows. 50 black elephants, with tusks all white, are yours, in gold saddle cloth decorated. To you, and you I give them, do you say? Remembering my old ancestral right? King Susima, thus addressed, then repeated the second stanza. 50 black elephants, with tusks all white, are mine, in gold saddle cloth decorated. To you, and you I give them, so I say. My boy, remembering your ancestral right. Then a thought struck the Bodhisattva. And he said, "Sire, if you do remember my ancestral right and your ancient custom, why do you neglect me and make others the masters of your festival?" "Why, I was told that you did not know the 3 Vedas or the elephant tradition, and that is why I have caused the festival to be managed by others." "Very well, sire. If there is one amongst all these Brahmins who can recite a portion of the Vedas or the elephant tradition against me, let him stand forward. Not in all India is there one except me who knows the 3 Vedas and the elephant tradition for the ordering of an elephant festival." Proud as a lion's roar rang out the answer. Not a Brahmin dared to rise and contend with him. So the Bodhisattva kept his ancestral right, and conducted the ceremony. And laden with riches, he returned to his own home. When the master had ended this discourse, he explained the truths, and identified the birth. Some entered on the first path, some on the second, some the third, and some the fourth. Mahamaya was at that time my mother, King Shuddhodana was my father, Ananda was King Susima, Saraputra the famous teacher, and I myself was the young Brahmin.